Hi, I'm Hannah and I'm the founder of Love to Dream and inventor of Swaddle Up and our newborn to toddler 3-stage sleep system. At Love to Dream, we're really committed to helping parents and their babies get more sleep. And we have your baby covered for all of their developmental milestones, from newborn swaddling to transitioning from swaddling when your baby's starting to roll into when they become more independent sleepers with our sleep bags and sleep suits. And today we have a really special guest. Her name is Edwina Sharrock and she's from Birthbeat. Edwina is a registered nurse and midwife with 15 years experience helping educate parents about parenting, everything pre and postnatal. Edwina has 2 of her own children and she is here today to talk to us about all things swaddling. Welcome, Edwina. Nice to have you here.
Hi, Hannah. Thank you so much for having me here. I think this is a super important topic that we talk about, and as a registered midwife and as a childbirth educator, this is what I do. I educate parents on the importance of swaddling and how to swaddle. So we'll go through just the basics of why swaddling is so important and why we encourage it really from day one. So when your baby is in utero, which essentially just means when your baby is in your tummy, they're in this lovely, that doesn't look super comfortable to us here on camera, but the baby finds that a really comfortable, soothing position. And then when your baby is birthed, they're in, a very different world and a very different position. So recreating with swaddling that nice, cozy feeling is soothing to the baby. It's reassuring to the baby. It takes them back to what they know. The second thing that's really important is to understand the startle reflex. So the startle reflex is a normal developmental part of your baby's being. We test all their reflexes when they're born. We don't want to stop or suppress the startle reflex, but we want to be able to support the baby not to wake themselves up as they're transitioning from one sleep cycle into the next. The third reason is that saying to a baby, okay, you've had a feed, you've had a cuddle with mum, now we're going to swaddle you, it starts to create sleep cues or sleep associations. So by swaddling your baby, it's like saying, now is time for sleep, and your baby learns those sleep cues and those sleep associations, and that's very powerful. And the final reason being that it helps to encourage bub to sleep flat on their back. The babies must lay flat on their back with no pillows, no bumpers, no toys, nothing in their cot or their bassinet. Now, the importance of that is around the SIDS recommendations, but they're the reasons why we want to swaddle.
Edwina, when is the right time to start swaddling your newborn?
From birth. In childbirth classes, we teach all the expecting parents how to swaddle, and we encourage them to do it from birth.
The mental load is quite enormous when you have your first baby. Can you share with us what techniques you teach to your parents around how to swaddle? Are there some key techniques?
Yes. So firstly, it's important that it's snug and secure, and we've addressed why that is, because we want them to be feeling like they can bring their arms in and comfort themselves, but also reduce the startle reflex. We also want it to be so that the baby feels soothed and comforted, and you want to be consistent in your swaddling. So when we talked earlier about that it's a really strong sleep cue, you want those sleep cues to be the same through the day and through the night. And this is what we teach expecting parents.
Great, that's so true. And is there such a thing as safer swaddling?
Yes, absolutely. And again, this is why it's super important that parents are taught how to swaddle. A lot of people are worried about if their baby is too hot or too cold. So that's the first probably thing to address with swaddling, is just to ensure that the bub is not too warm and is not too cool to touch. A, they're not going to sleep as well, but B, their temperature regulation is actually something that's quite a significant SIDS consideration. Plus, we don't want the baby to be bringing the fabric up and being able to cover their mouth at all. So we want to, as best we can, reduce any way that the baby may suffocate. And so we reduce all that suffocation risk by ensuring that the fabric doesn't at any time come up and cover their mouth or nose. That's important in terms of safer swaddling. And we know now that probably the old-fashioned way of where we used to swaddle and, babies would be in this really tight fish and chip package, if babies weren't able to bring their hips up and flex their hips, that is not good for their hip development. And so we sort of call it the froggy position. So we need babies to be able to bring their legs up and I sort of show you here, bring their legs up and be able to flex their hips in that position. See, I can show you there. Look at that dancing baby, because that's super important for the development of the baby's hips.
I actually believe that you were a hippie baby.
Yeah, Hannah, I was a hippie baby, so the third of 4 girls, and I had congenital hip dysplasia where I went in the brace, then I had to go in plaster, and that was many moons ago. And Mum shares a funny story that Dad, was probably a little bit tight and didn't want to have to buy a new pram. So he just put a piece of board over the pram so that I could fit on it. But Polly, my daughter, whenever I was, using swaddling products or swaddling her, I wanted to be sure that she was able to get into that flexed hip position. That was really important to me.
And that is the whole reason why the bottom of our swaddles below the waist are loose, so that babies can have total free range of movement with their hips and their knees. But we've also developed a really special product for babies who are in a hip brace, and it's called our hip harness swaddle. And it accommodates that really wide-legged position. So we want babies of all kinds to sleep beautifully through the night.
I'm sure it's very appreciated by mothers everywhere.
I just wanted to recap that there are some really, really critical safety precautions that parents must take. First of all, alone in their sleep space. So nothing in the cot, no blankets, no bumpers, no toys. Then back to sleep, always sleep on their backs and in a separate sleep space, so in a crib or in a bassinet are our recommendations.
We've talked a lot about the benefits of swaddling and how to swaddle. I would love to know a little bit more about how did you come up with this idea of how to swaddle babies and make it easy for parents?
I'd like to share that I have experienced devastating sleep deprivation. My son, my firstborn, didn't sleep for more than 45 minutes at a time, and it was really grueling for me. And I thought I could design a product that could help keep him safer, because what I would find that when I'd wrap him in a traditional wrap, he would wriggle his arms out, and with that wriggling it would unravel and it would end up over his face. So I thought it was really dangerous, and it woke him up because he wasn't wrapped anymore. So I developed Swaddle Up, which is this product, and you can see that the baby is snugly swaddled here all the way throughout their torso, and their arms are up. And this is the special point of difference with Love to Dream swaddles. And what happens when the baby's arms are up? First of all, they're able to get a really great range of movement. They are able to rub on their cheeks and suck on their hands, and that is the magic formula. The sucking of their hands is really soothing for a baby, and it helps them get to sleep, and it helps them stay asleep for longer. Also, the twin zipper that we have here, so you can open it from the top or you can open it from the bottom, and that makes for really, really easy nappy changes or diaper changes during the day or night. And also, the sound of the zipper has become a sleep association for bubs who use the product. As soon as that zipper goes up, we're told they kind of start to nod off because they know what's coming, that next is being placed into their bed and they can go to sleep. So for all these reasons, soothing your baby with swaddling really, really does help them sleep.
Oh, I love that story, Hannah. And I know that I use them for Polly, and it can be used from day one. And I agree that the twin zipper is genius, because Polly would sometimes wake at nighttime, have a feed. You know she's filled her pants, so you don't want to have to unwrap them and undress them. And I was able just to sneak down the zipper, change her pants, and get her back to sleep without fully having to wake her up. So that is absolute genius.
Amazing. Glad you found it useful, and glad that Polly slept better. And yeah, we designed it to be used from day one for newborns, straight out of the womb and into swaddling. So Edwina, let's recap what we've learnt today. Why is swaddling important?
We know that once they come out of the womb, it is comforting, and it is how babies feel soothed and secure. So we want to recreate that. We don't want the startle reflex that we've talked about to be waking them up between sleep cycles. We want to encourage them to know what is a positive sleep cue, what is a sleep association, and creating that through day and night from day one helps Bub to know that. It encourages them to lay flat on their back, and that is a safe position for Bub to be sleeping in from day one.
When is the best time to start swaddling your baby?
From day one, Hannah, that's when we want them to be swaddled. And this is why we teach it in childbirth education so that parents have the skills to know how to swaddle when their baby's born.
Yeah, agreed. And Edwina, how should parents swaddle their baby?
So it's to make sure that it's snug and secure. We need it not to be too heavy a fabric. We don't want the bub to be too hot or too cold. We know that that doesn't encourage bub to sleep, and we also know that it's not safe in terms of SIDS guidelines. And we want to be ensuring that the baby is able to flex their hips. So don't have them so secure or too tight so that they're not able to bring their hips up into what we've called the froggy position, which is essentially just them being able to flex their hips.
Edwina, thank you so much for chatting with me today. Where can people reach out to you if they want to learn more?
We have online childbirth education classes and online baby and child first aid classes, so you can do it from the safety and comfort of your own home at a time that suits you. So everyone can just find more about those courses at birthbeat.com or follow us on Instagram and Facebook. We've got heaps of free resources there just to make sure that parents can feel prepared.
Beautiful. Thanks so much.